Hey, good morning, instructors. The start of week 2. Last week you worked on your horse stances, right? And hopefully we worked with everybody to get out nice and wide, about 1.5 times shoulder width, bending those knees straight down. Today, or this week, we want to work on both classes. We want to work on a good back stance. Okay? So remember, our good back stance, we need to teach our students to keep feet in line, shaped like an L, and about 70% of that weight on the back leg. This, again, is about 1.5 times shoulder width. So this is a fairly wide stance, but make sure they stay balanced. And when you look at them, if they looked in the mirror, they would see their shoulder, their hip, and their knee more or less in line, slightly leaning forward to get that 30%, but it's not going to look like this, right? This is our 50-50 back stance. So make sure, double check and make sure that the majority of that weight's on the back foot. Here's how I like to do it in class. When we're teaching this or just reviewing it, as we're doing floor exercises, just have them keep their hands on their hips for a few reps up and down the floor. Just practice getting into that good back stance, sliding that foot forward each time, and then add in some hand techniques. Here's the second thing, the big tip, and this will add a little bit of fun into your class, hopefully, is a few drills. Now get creative with the equipment that you have, and if you don't have a lot of equipment, you can still make up some pretty good drills with your class. All right, so week 2, we want to focus on balance, and we've got some good drills to do that. Here at the gym, we have a lot of good equipment, ladders, balance beams. You can put out some of those rings. Get creative, use appropriate tools for the job. And even if you don't have this at your branch, get creative. Maybe even a pattern on the floor is something enough to mark some targets for you to use for some of these drills. Here's an example. On the ladder, what we can do is have them just get in the ladder and focus all the way down the floor. Good technique. Tighten up those core muscles, bring the knees up. This is good for white belts. If they're feeling pretty good, or for some of your higher students, add in things like some more complicated kicks, maybe even some turning kicks, but make sure they always have to pivot back and land in that next square with good balance. So you'll have to watch closely and make sure this is going well. Same thing on the beams. This is a little bit more challenging. Maybe it's just hard for some students to stay balanced on that beam and bring that knee up one at a time. Some might be pretty good and be able to add a few kicks in. Keep this flowing. Do this a couple of times up and down the floor, and encourage your students to really work on that. This is going to help them specifically with their warm-ups in class and with all of their floor exercises, and of course it translates into everything through forms and sparring. Okay, and one other thing you can add in that's really good to put in week 2, especially if you have new students or lower belts that are still working on their roundhouse. And you can adapt this for your higher students as well. This is our roundhouse progression drill. If you want to see a full video on this, go back to the YouTube channel. I have a whole tip of the week on just the roundhouse progression. But the basic idea is this. Get in a good horse stance. We practiced this in week 1. That front leg is going to come up and tap on the bag with the top of the foot. Low roundhouse. Have them work up as they're more confident. White belts maybe only do the low roundhouse. Yellow, orange, maybe they do a low. And in the middle, your higher students can continue to work their way up and back down. That's the progression. It's like an elevator. Kicks go up the bag, kicks go down the bag. Have them switch feet, have them switch rows. If you don't have a bag or you have too many students for the bags, grab some paddles. Do the same thing. Just give them a good target. Guys, that's it. I hope this is helpful. Have a great week.